Hi folks, it's Lela. I know it's been a while since the last time I posted a video, and I just wanted to say this. Whew, do not let the little foxes spoil the vine. And what I mean by that is part of the reason why I haven't posted a video recently in the last few months is because I needed to get my emotions right. I needed to spend some quality time with God, just me and Him, making sure that my actions and words were reflecting what His promises and what He had told me of my future. And you can't do that personally, I think, by totally being out and willy-nilly and having all your stuff out there. No. Sometimes you have to, even in the social media world, take a time, a pause to just make sure that you are right. And you're not operating from a half full vessel or half empty vessel. That you're always if you're always pouring out and you're not filling back up. So I spent some time after failing my road tests for the first and last time in Texas. I went and experienced some things that I that were just like I needed to experience them. I went from I got emotional. If anyone knows me, I have a tendency to be very sparkish, and what that means is I can mask my emotions and do what I need to do. But with this, I knew I couldn't mask my emotions. I needed to get right with God. So he and I worked on my attitude, how I react to certain situations, how to make sure that I was declaring my future, that is found in His Word, and making sure that I spent that quality time that I needed to spend with Him on a regular basis, and praying without ceasing. These are like foundational things as being a Christian that I should have been doing, and I thought I was doing up to snuff. But with every new level, there are new devils, and you need to prepare yourself for that warfare. When I was, the whole experience with passing my road tests, getting my first car, different things like that have transpired since probably the last time I posted a video. Oh, I haven't told you guys about it. Yeah, I passed my road tests on the 30th of August, and it was a sweatless victory, as everything should be, sweatless. I did what I needed to do in regards to practicing. I released it to God, and I had peace going in to take the road tests. And the amazing testimony about that is the same clerk that had signed me, had taken my paperwork when I first went to transfer my New York State license to, not license, permit to get a Texas permit, was the same one that actually was my road test examiner. Now, that was not the first time I met this, the first two times that I had encounters with this woman. When I first went to attempt my road test, my permit had actually expired. You get 90 days here in Texas to, once you get your permit, to actually schedule your road test, take it and pass it. It had lapsed because, well, be honest, my husband is a coach and a teacher, and his schedule and my schedule were conflicting, when I could take my road test. So we had to wait until school was out for me to take my road tests. We were also on the way of preparing to go on a few trips in the summer in state, and we wanted to have me driving part of the way. Well, it turned out, after arriving here, I got a local instructor. Went out a couple of times with them. Went out with the family member driving. Went out with the husband, but still, I had a fear issue that I needed to get over. And so I was working it out, reading the books, had my scriptures. It was like by the book, I was doing what I needed to do, but my mind, it still wasn't clicking on the fact that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. That God did not give me the spirit of fear. All those different things were not clicking in when I was actually driving. So when I went to take my road test, even though in myself that first time, when I went to take my road test that first time, I was confident. I knew I was going to pass it. I just knew it because I've been driving. I was confident in self. I was not confident in God's ability. Because when I was confronted with the fact that I would have to try to parallel park, not with cars, but with poles, I froze and I failed miserably. I couldn't even get out the parking lot. So basically by myself, I could not get out the parking lot. And I had an emotional breakdown. I mean, to the extreme where I can replay it back in my own mind and have to laugh because I was acting like a 2-year-old after this road test. Anyway, after that time, the hubby and I, we went on a retreat, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He was coaching, I was retreating, meaning me and God were having conversations because there was no internet. It was no internet. If I wanted to get on the internet, I had to go someplace a ways away in the middle of where we were, or slowly hope that the 3G on my phone, I love my iPhone, but sometimes the service is not all that great. I'm not saying the name of the carrier, but y'all all know who it is. Anyway, was not all that consistent where we were. And I just started reading books more. Well, I was reading books by Joyce Myers this entire summer. I think I read about like 6 or 7 books by her. Either some I read, some I listened to, some were combos. And I started reading one particular book from her called Be Anxious for Nothing, and right after my road test. And then I started reading Joel Osteen's book, It's Your Time. And both those books really helped me. Oh, and a series by Joyce that I had bought 2 years ago, never listened to it, and shipped it off with the husband, and found it during this period, called The Spirit of Fear. I'll just flip it back. The Spirit of Fear. See that? Spirit of Fear. So I started listening to that series, and actually at the 1 or 2 discs in, she was talking about my situation, in which was driving. And again, being from New York City, Brooklyn, New York, which has the most fantastic mass transit system, you can become spoiled. I think my dad really officially learned how to drive when he was like 40 something years old, or 50. And I learned that some of my relatives, it took a couple of times for them to pass the road test before they actually passed it, and they're excellent drivers. And so driving is not like, and I'm technically, some of my relatives, depending on who they are, it's a differentiation and age gap. So my generation did not necessarily need to drive as much as their generation. That's just how it is. Anyway, so the only reason why I really got my driver's license because I married the coach. And with him being a coach and seeing the challenges he had to go through with, having to focus on game day and all these different things, and then having to be concerned about me getting home after a game or what have you, it just wasn't fair. I needed to learn how to drive. So to make a long story short, like I said, August 30th, I passed my road test. The woman that was my examiner was a woman that had signed me, was my clerk initially to get my application, my permit here. She ended up being the woman that renewed my permit. And then when I had to reschedule, I remembered her voice. She was the same woman I spoke to. And so when I got actually into the vehicle, it was amazing what she said to me. I'm not sure she remembered me or what have you. She went, you know what? I already know you know how to drive. This is what you would do to fail. Let's just start with parking. I'll tell you this. My driving test lasted, the average 7 to 10 minutes. I didn't go on the highway. Didn't do anything crazy like I thought I might be doing. I passed it almost with a perfect score outside of a one little -1 for my positioning for parallel parking. I was not as close to the curb as I should have been. But I parked the car. So, but the amazing thing behind that, I parked my car. And my truck's name is Favor. And the reason why I named her Favor, yes, she's a she, is because it was a favor of the Lord that we got her a week before I passed my road test and 2 weeks before school started for OG and the first football games. Who does that but God? Anyway, I'm just grateful and thankful for having the wisdom to know when to shut down, in a sense, and just make sure that I guard, as something I had posted before, guarding your gates, making sure that my eye gate, my ear gate, and my mouth gate were guarded, to make sure that I was reading the right materials, and making sure that I was speaking the right confessions over myself, and making sure those that I didn't even tell anybody I was taking my road test the second time around until, except for my inner circle. That meant my family members that were, OG and my family members that were either taking me out to drive or I knew was speaking life into me. My sister friend, my sister friends, relatives, different people. Like I said, I kept it very locked until I passed that test. Because in the times past, I told everybody, pray for me. Oh, I need to pass this test, Lord Jesus. Because I was operating in fear. This time I was operating in faith. Purchasing that car the week before I even took my road test, passed my road test, was faith. Executed by my husband and myself, because when I was driving the car, I think right after we purchased it, one thing that he said to me, he was like, babe, you have no other choice but to pass your road test. We already bought your car. So I just wanted to say the points that I really wanted to share in this video was the fact of, again, make sure that you don't let any little foxes get in and spoil the vine. And what I mean by that is be very careful of the words that you speak over yourself, and make sure that they line up to his word. Make sure that you're speaking life into the situation. Make sure that if you don't have anything good to say at all, just keep your mouth shut and just meditate on his word. Speak his word until your faith is activated and you operate in the grace that he has given you, bequeathed to you. And I'm talking about Jesus. So, right now I'm a licensed driver in Texas. I'm still, there's still things that, the coach has benched me on certain things in regards to driving. He's like, so you're still a freshman driver. That's a football reference for all of my fellow coaches' wives. I'm benched on certain things. I'm taking my baby steps, but, I can drive. I have my car. By all accounts, though, it's really funny that I went through all this stuff with the driving thing, and every one of my instructors say that I'm an excellent driver. And it wasn't just like, hype up, ooh. It's the fact that I am. And I just had to get out of self and into him and realize that I don't drive that car. I don't get behind the wheel. I'm a vessel. And I allowed Jesus to get behind the wheel, quoting Carrie Underwood. I did not, I just recently heard that song and I was like, dude, this song is powerful. Because it speaks, again, that's something that spoke to my situation. It's like, Jesus, you take the wheel, because In some situations, it's raining cats and dogs in Houston. Or there's a big 18-wheeler that got me boxed in on a bridge. Another one in front of me, like that happened yesterday when I went to the gym. Those different things, I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. Not literally meaning in regards to I'm letting loose and flying, no. But at least I have that understanding that he's working through me to guide me where I need to go. I am using my GPS system, my God positioning system. Thank you, TD Jakes. Thank you, Pastor Dollar, for that one. Love that analogy. To position me where he wants me to go. Not where I want to go, but where he wants me to go. So right now, I am really just grateful to God that I realize that I rely on him. And without him, I could not even get out the parking lot. So, peace. I know I probably rambled a little bit, but here's my video. Love you. Bye.